everybody, it's Mack with On The Move. Alright, today I did a video on America's prison system. I found a whole bunch of different websites for reference, so if you're curious where I got this information, feel free to look at the website address in the toolbar, and also it will be down in the description of this video, so feel free to check it out. With only 5% of the world's population, the US has 25% of the world's prison population. From 1980 to 2008, the number of people incarcerated in America quadrupled roughly from 500,000 to 2.3 million people. Nearly half of all prisoners in state prisons are locked up for nonviolent offenses. The U.S. prison population rose by 700% from 1970 to 2005, a rate far outpacing that of general population growth and crime rates. About $70 billion are spent on corrections yearly. $70 billion. Prisons and jails consume a growing portion of the nearly $200 billion we spend annually on public safety. The number of people in federal prison for drug offenses spiked from 74,276 in 2000 to 97,472 in 2010, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Alright, what we're looking at right now is California's annual cost to incarcerate an inmate in prison. It costs approximately $19,663 per year for security of inmates, of each inmate. It costs approximately $12,442 for inmate health care. This includes services such as the medical care, psychiatric services, pharmaceuticals, and dental care. As far as operations of the facilities, it costs approximately $7,214 per inmate per year. These services include maintenance, utilities, classification services, maintenance of inmate records, reception, testing, assignment, and transportation. The administration per inmate is $3,493 per year approximately. Inmate support such as food, inmate activities, inmate employment and canteen, clothing, and religious activities cost approximately $2,562 per inmate. Rehabilitation programs such as academic education, vocational training, and substance abuse programs cost approximately $1,612 per year. We also have, looks like according to this, miscellaneous charges of $116 per year. I'm not sure what that is per inmate. But yeah, this all adds up to $47,102. Alright, let's go ahead and move on and do some comparisons here of the United States and China. China has a population of 1.3 billion approximately. In comparison, the United States has a population of approximately 316 million. And this is in comparison to the world's population here of 7 billion. The United States is approximately 5% of that population. So I had to use Wikipedia here, and yes, I know Wikipedia is not the most accurate source. However, I wasn't able to find any information anywhere else, so I'm just using this as a guideline, basically. Don't take this information as 100% fact. But anyway, as far as for China, foreign experts estimate that in 2000 there were between 1.5 and 4 million people in prison in China. We don't know the exact number because China does not allow outsiders to inspect their penal system. Alright, we're going to do some comparisons here between the population of China and the population of the United States just to find out how much bigger China is than the United States. China has 1.3 billion people, and if we divide that by 316 million, we will get the difference in population. And we have China is 428% bigger than the United States in population. So if we take 2.3 million, which is the number of prisoners that the United States has in their country, and we times that by 428%, which is 4.28, then we will arrive at the number that if China had the same amount of prisoners per capita of us, this is what they should have in their prison system. So if China had the same amount of people in their prison system per capita as the United States, they would have 9.8 million prisoners. And again, according to Wikipedia, they only have between 1.5 and 4 million. So per capita, we have way more prisoners in the United States than in the Republic of China. So if we take the 9.8 million prisoners that China should have if they had the same per capita rate of prisoners as the United States and divide that by 4, we arrive at 2.4 million prisoners, which is what they almost have. This is the mid-range of the guesstimation of what they had. So at that rate, China has approximately 4 times less the prisoners as the United States does. Okay, so I was unable to find any information on the crime rates in China to compare this to, but I'm assuming that, an argument that people could say of why China's prison rates are different would be because maybe they have so much crime over there that they are just not arresting the bad guys. So I wanted to do some other comparisons in regards to other democracies. So I found this article here on Reason.com. And it says here, the International Center for Prison Studies at King's College London calculates that the United States has an incarceration rate of 743 per 100,000 people. This means that out of every 100,000 people, 743 are incarcerated. And you compare this to 325 in Israel, 217 in Poland, 154 in England and Wales, 96 in France, 71 in Denmark, and 32 in India. All right, let's go ahead and move back to this Huffington Post article. And it said 97,472 people were in prison in 2010 for drug offenses. Let's take that number and we're going to go ahead and times it by the amount it costs to house an inmate per year. And we'll figure out how much it actually costs for us to incarcerate all these drug offenders. And we arrive at 4.5 billion each year is spent to incarcerate drug offenders. Now this number is also not even reflecting the non-violent felons we have in our prison system right now. This is just people who are there for drug offenses. Okay, so that was what I found. Now, as far as a solution, we have 97,000 people who are in jail right now for drug offenses. So, solution number one, we legalize all drugs. This not only will free up the $4.5 billion of taxpayer money that we're using to imprison these people for victimless crimes, but we also will now be able to tax the income made off of the drugs being sold by the government or regulated underneath the government control. Right now, we have created a system similar to prohibition in the past of alcohol, in which the cartels and other organized crime organizations are getting more and more powerful because of the prohibition of these drugs. So we're actually creating a system that is more dangerous than if we actually regulated it and taxed it. And this also goes to the fact of taxing. We can tax this income from these drugs, and we can use that towards paying our deficit. We have a very huge deficit, as all of you know, so this money could go towards that. Alright, now also you start talking about our justice system. The way our justice system is set up right now is not a justice system at all. It's a punishment system. So if somebody steals a car and that car is valued at $5,000 and they end up getting 5 years in jail, they are now costing the taxpayers $250,000 for those 5 years in jail. And the victim of that crime never got paid the $5,000 that he was owed, never got his card back. So this is the problem. There's no real justice. So we can turn this into an actual justice system by doing several things. So we take the nonviolent criminals. We vet them through a process to see who's capable of going through this. But we create some kind of halfway house to where prisoners are no longer have security, and they can come and go relatively as they please, with the exception of the rules that halfway houses have. So these individuals would work at work for the government, doing government labor jobs that would allow them to actually earn a paycheck to repay their debt to society. And by debt to society, I'm referring to the individual that they harmed, so they can pay. If they stole the $5,000 car, they pay $5,000 plus some fee for pain and suffering that they caused on the individual. Also, they pay tax to the government to pay all the employees that are involved in all the paperwork and all this whole process, and to even pay back the halfway house money that they're costing. And then on top of all this, they can tax the income that they're paying these people. We're using them for projects, but this is a great rehabilitation program, I think. And obviously, I don't have all the answers. I'm just one guy. But with this solution, we can actually move in the direction of something better. And I'm sure other people can take this idea and make changes to it and make it even better. I'm sure it probably has already been discussed already. But I know it's not happening right now, and I don't really know why we are not actually using our system of justice for justice and paying back the victims of these crimes. And obviously there's certain things that we can't do. There's limitations in this thing. Some people are always going to fight the system and will always try to scam the system. So in those cases, we'll always need prisons. We're always going to need prisons, and that makes sense. I'm not saying that all prisons need to be shut down or anything, but what I am saying is that we need to really think hard and think about the consequences of imprisoning people when it costs $47,000 a year per inmate. We really need to go through and thin down the amount of people in there if we ever plan on getting out of debt. So that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know. Comment below. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Also, if you like what I'm doing, please feel free to like my video and subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/OnTheMoveShow and on twitter.com/OnTheMoveShow. And as always, know your rights, assert your rights, get on the move.